Alrighty, today everyone we're talking about progressive overload and how you apply it to your training. It's a very common thing that a lot of people either know about but don't actually know what it involves, or people just don't know. For me, I work in a gym, so whenever I go up to people and I'm talking about their training and all that, and they're telling me what they're doing, and I'm like, oh, you've been, pushing for progression, trying to progressively overload. And some of them are like, oh, what's that? Or what does that mean? And then when I explain it, they're like, oh, no, I guess not really like that. And the thing is, in simple terms, progressive overload is just a way of ensuring that you're constantly trying to push for even just 0.001% better every session or every week with your training. It's going to make sure that your body is always adapting, because our bodies are smart and they adapt quickly. But they're going to make sure that our bodies and our muscles are still adapting every time and keeping that stimulus high by always trying to challenge ourselves. So how can you progressively overload? I've got a few different ways that you can do it, so let's get into it. With point one being obviously increasing the weight. So let's just say you do 20 kilos on bench press or 20 kilo dumbbells on dumbbell bench press. Next week or your next session, you might aim for 22.5 kg dumbbells, or you might try and do more reps of those 20 kilo dumbbells. Maybe you did 8 reps last time, and then next time you're going to try and do even more reps, Or if last time you did quite a few reps and you feel like you could up the weight and go for it. Even if you do fewer reps, it's still, a different weight that your body's not used to. And look, you're only going to get used to it even more by doing the weight, right? Point two is increasing your reps. As I was saying before, just if you're doing a certain weight, instead of, if you can't, add some weight to it, you feel like you can't add the weight to it, you might try and do more reps. You might do one more rep, or you might feel that with the reps that you do, it might be the same amount of reps, but you might have felt like they were better reps, like they were better form, and they were a bit easier or something like that. Point three is adding more sets. This isn't something I do every week, because if you kept on adding a set to your workouts every single week, then you'd end up being in the gym for 10 hours by the end of a 12-week training phase, which is just not ideal. But when we say adding more sets, we mean every 6 weeks or every 12 weeks. With my clients, I like to put them in 12-week training phases. So usually after 6 weeks, we'll have a bit of a checkup call, see how they're going with both things, nutrition and training. With their training, we'll only do small tweaks. We'll just usually add some more sets into their training programs, just so we can add volume naturally without even them having to do it themselves. It'll just, we'll just add it to the program, so it's just added there for them. And then usually at the end of the 12 weeks, we'll make a bit more of a drastic sort of change to their program in terms of changing exercise variations, etc. Point four is controlling the tempo. If you feel like you can't, up the weight, it sort of relates to what I was saying before with increasing your reps. It's like you might do 8 reps of 20 kilo dumbbells for dumbbell chest press, but you feel like you could do a better form, or you feel like you could control the weight and not rush it as much, right? But maybe next time you'll do the same weight and you'll do 8 reps of it, the same amount, but they'll be nice and controlled. You might do a little pause at the bottom rather than just rushing it straight up. And you feel more in control of the weight. This way there is more time under tension for your muscles, which is only going to help them grow even more. And it makes the exercise harder without having to add anything to it, essentially. Point five is improving your technique and range of motion. For example, people on leg presses or with their squats, right? Some people, they might start off with squats and they can't go all the way down. But then keeping that and doing half reps the whole time and keep on loading on weight, you're never going to be able to get that full range of motion if you just keep on adding weight every time a weight gets easy. Realistically, people should try to start with just doing full range of motion, going as far down as they can, and if not, doing things that will help them. For example, with squats, if you can't, squat low enough, you might put some plates at your heels and do it that way. Or you might just do a low enough weight that will let you squat low without, compromising form. Same with leg press as well. A lot of people might not bring their knees all the way back to their chest. It's the same sort of concept. If you start bringing your knees back to your chest instead of doing half reps, if you do half reps, it will make the weight a lot more challenging, and it will only mean better things for your actual gains itself. Point six is reducing rest times. So essentially for your resistance training, this isn't, I guess, relative to that. This is more if you're doing a cardio or core style workout. For example, you might do a 5-minute core workout on YouTube where it's non-stop, there's no rest, and you might do it every week, right? But a way of tracking progress might be that you're taking less rest. Maybe with these no rest YouTube core workouts, you'll find yourself after each exercise or halfway through each exercise, you need a quick 5-second reset. But as you go along, maybe you're finding that it's like every 2 exercises that you need that quick 5-second reset. Or maybe you might not need any at all. Maybe you can just smash through the whole workout. Boom, good to go. And that way you can increase, you might instead now do a 7-minute core workout where there's no rest. My last point that I'm going to make is increasing your frequency. If you're starting to get really consistent with like 2 or 3 days at the gym and you feel like you could add in another day and it wouldn't compromise anything and it wouldn't, be too hard to add in another day. Even if you add in another day and it's like a half workout, like you're only there for half the time that you would usually be, it's still something to start with, and it's still going to be progressively overloading essentially and increasing your frequency. But yeah, if you can add in if you can add in a day and you feel comfortable doing it and it's not going to ruin your momentum and it's not going to ruin your consistency by setting your expectations too high, then go for it. Do it. I think this is a great idea. But yeah, main point with progressive overload, a lot of people mistaken it to be constantly improving weights, when in reality, depending on what phase you're doing, if you're trying to lose fat or maybe you're actually trying to gain muscle, there's going to be points where you're not always going up in weight. And there's small different things that we can make sure that we are doing to progressively overload in other ways and still, increase by that 0.001% every week or every session. I hope this video was helpful, guys. I've got heaps more on my YouTube channel, but you can also go check out my Instagram for more helpful daily fat loss advice. Go to my Instagram @landonquinn.coaching, give it a check out, and don't hesitate to reach out